Hey guys, and we are back with another Sunnyland 2D tutorial. Sorry that I've been gone. I've just not had the time. So if you hear me messing with my microphone again, trying to find the best spot for it to be. Still to this day, because I have not tested it at any other time to see where I'd like it at. And I would like it to have it's on my left side. I would prefer to have it on my right, but I don't have anywhere to hook it on my right. So it has to be on my left. And I don't want to reorganize my setup right now. As you see, last episode we finished the frog and items, I think. So I think we did UI. I honestly forgot what we did. I think we did the frog. Oop, we did that. I'm pretty sure. I only have one frog for now. But I know I said I would do the opossum in the beginning, but I changed my mind. We're going to do something else instead, so we have less work to do for the opossum, unless you happen to be one of the probably few people who listened and did the opossum without following my tutorial. But if you didn't do it, good for you. If you did do it, better good for you, because you tried something on your own. Now, see, the first thing we are going to do is go back into our sprites folder in Sunnyland. We go to FX and our enemy def. Let's just delete these two because we will not need them. And make sure to set everything at 16 by 16 pixels per unit. Then we're going to right click, create a new animation, or just call it enemy def. Just drag this here, drag and drop it to our frog, go over here, then edit it from over here. Then we're going to do it to 25, just going to do this, paste it back here, then I'm going to go watch our animation, boom. Now that was by a little bit fast, but it's the same as everything else we've done so far. So, next thing we're going to do, just so you know, we're going to use the same animation for a whole bunch of other entities, so this next step would be the same for pretty much a lot of enemies. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to drag this over here, and we are going to create a new parameter, a new trigger in the parameters, and call it death. Then we are going to make a transition going to it. We don't need to make one going back. Disable has the exit time, disable fixed duration, set that to 0, and that'll be it from here. I'm gonna have it set to any state, so it can be in any one of these, or even this one, I think. Then it just merely just switches to a death, because we don't need to attach it here. Even for a player, it should work like that. I think. I don't know for sure. We are going to go back to our frog controller and make something here once it loads. Okay, load. We are going to make a new void, new public void actually. Public void jumped on. Then inside this void, we're going to add atom.set trigger death. And that's it. Now we are going to have to go back to our player controller and get rid of this, because it will get in the way later on. Yeah, I forgot about it. Okay. I'm just going to call it a private void death. Do that, then do destroy this dot game object. And then when we go back to our player here, and then we are going to do something called a frog. Not that frog. Frog Okay, I'm doing it wrong. Frog controller, frog equals other dot game object dot get component, then frog controller. I messed up. Just do this. Then we will do frog. Yeah, frog dot jumped on. Now, next thing after this, we're gonna have to go back here. Anyways, in our death animation, the enemy death, we're going to go here, add a event marker, and select death. Now, once I do this, let's wait for it to play. Like this. Go here. Not gonna jump on him yet. No. Oh. Something's wrong. Figured out the conditions for the transition. Now it should work. I'm pretty sure some of you would have noticed that. Yeah, even I forgot about that. We fell. That's something I need to do next episode. A death box. And boom. Now it explodes, but as you can see, it's still sliding. So, sliding's maybe an issue for some people, but I'm gonna get rid of it. So this is the easiest way I found to get rid of it. You know, you could do a .0, it doesn't work all the time, but this here, I'm a rigid body constraints 2D dot freeze all. This freezes the X, Y, and Z, even though our Z is already frozen. Shouldn't matter. We just use freeze all because it's a pre-built-in command. So as you can see, once we jump on the frog, boom, stays still, doesn't move. Perfect explosion. Okay, so I wanted to get this out of the way before we moved on to what I want the main purpose of this video to be, which is inheritance. So basically, in Unity, inheritance is used to extend or modify the class of another script. And all scripts inherit from the script model behavior, that's why it's right here, and I say never change it. But we will be changing it for this. So we can use it to add inherit for this script to inherit features from another script, which you probably understand better once you see it, because that's how I understood inheritance. So basically, in a way, you can see how we have our collectibles. This is technically our parent box. These are the children inside. The script model behavior is technically the parent script. This is the child script of that script, basically. If that helps you understand. And you can use it for like floats, variables, functions, a whole bunch of things. So first thing I'm gonna do is just create a new script, and I'm gonna call it enemy. Now, I did some testing. This does not need to be. I don't know why it opened, but this does not need to be in any entity. It will be called on its own. It doesn't have to be attached or anything. It will be called as long as it's in the folder. Now then, first thing we are going to do is actually no, those can stay. The first thing I'm going to do is we are going to use a new component called protected. This basically refers to the fact that another script is trying to access the variable of other components, but it'll only modify what it's currently trying to use in that one entity and that one script that's trying to call it, and not every script that is trying to call from that one variable. Only modify it for that one script that's calling it. Basically, I think not the best at describing protected. I just know what you have to use it to. So when add an I'm gonna add a animator called anim, and another protected and rigid body to be, and call it RB. So before going to the start function, we are going to have to add a protected virtual void. You have to add virtual because it allows methods to be declared or modified / overridden in a class deriving from our script. So if we're going to have our start function is going to be, we can't have two start functions even in its mono behavior. They will collide with one another. Doing so will allow us to use both start functions. Well, we have to change the start function in the frog controller a little bit, but it allows us to use both at the same time, basically, I think. Again, I'm not the best at describing this. I just know you have to use it here. Then, same as before, in the original frog, I'm going to do anim equals get component animator. Then RB equals get component rigid body 2D. They're going to be the same here. Now, we're going to go to our frog script, and over here, we're going to change mono behavior to enemy. Now you're going to say, but what about mono behavior? Well, since mono behavior is here, we don't need to worry about it. And since we have this, you can see how these say they cannot be used. They're highlighted with red because we'll be calling them from our enemy script from now on. And before we get to here, we're going to go down here to jumped on and death. I'm just going to highlight them, cut them out. And I'm going to go down here, paste them right here. Now, I'm going to save that. Now back in our frog controller. Let's see, we are going to change our start function to a protected override. You can see this is fixed and we don't need these two anymore. And up here we are going to add a base.start. Base here is referring to the class of the script enemy. So it calls this function right here over here. It's like, yeah, we're gonna have to do this because this will call the anim and RB from all of our enemies whenever they have the enemy tag, or whenever there's a reference to them in this script. No, I'm getting confused. No, whenever they're inherent from the script, they will be getting called whatever is in here at that one time. So yeah, so that's why we don't need to have it connected to our game object or prefetch, because it's being called from their controller basically. Now all this is done for now actually. Our next step is we having to go back here and we're gonna have to change the way we just did here. So we're gonna call it enemy because other game object, change that to enemy as well. This set of frog enemy.jump. Now, if that was like a little bit of a quick explanation, but if yours doesn't work, like you can no longer, I'm just gonna go there and show you what I'm talking about. But as your frog no longer explodes, you may need to add it to your script, or you have to check what you did wrong. But look, we'd still explode. Nothing has changed that much, but we can now make cleaner code and a lot more cleaner game objects and all that. I'll go back to a scripts, sprites. I'm going to go to our enemies, and we are now going to work on the opossum. So I'm just gonna delete this as always. Drag an opossum here. Just drag it down here so it's easier to see. And remember to set everything to 16 by 16 pixels per unit. And add the opossum here. And I'm just gonna make the animation first. Let's create animation. Opossum. There's only one animation, so I'm just gonna call it opossum. And we are going to drag it onto the opossum. And then we are just going to do that. And we'll see here. That works pretty well. I think I made mine a little bit slower though on my other one. I don't know. It works good. It looks as good as it can. So after doing that, we are actually gonna. I shouldn't have done that. Gonna go back to our sprites enemy. We are going to drag this onto the opossum now. Now over here, we just do the same thing as before. Add a parameter, add a new trigger, and call it death. Make its transition because this thing doesn't have any other transitions, so we really don't need to mess with it, which is good. Go to our conditions, and it's already at death because it has nothing to cycle through. Now back over here on the opossum game object itself, we have to add a sorting layer, change the entity, tag, give it the enemy tag. Now when you drag it here, it should be there. And now we are going to add a rigid body 2D, Z constraint, and I'm going to use automass. Then a box collider 2D. And then let's edit the size of this to be fair for a player, and I'm going to do something like this. Something like this. I'm just making sure it's going to look like it's stepping on the ground. And it's a bit up. Yeah, it looks good. You know this animation's a little bit wonky. It works. Yeah, I don't know why the first one's like that. That's actually pretty weird. And I think, oh yeah, the animations. And I have to go back here, which I can actually do here because it's opened. See opossum here. Enable looping. Now I'm gonna play here, and if you go to scene view and see, yeah, it looks alright. Looks alright moving. I'm just gonna save what we have here. Everything is saved here. So, next thing we are going to do, create a new script called Opossum controller. Create and add. Why is this doing this now? And I gotta wait for that. And close these for now because we're not doing anything with them. Now you can open this. Same So this is going to be take some similarities from the frog, which is why I wanted you all to do it ahead of time, or attempt to. So we're going to have two CROD fields called private float left cap, private float right cap. Those are going to be the same. Then we are going to have a serialized another float, and this will be walk speed instead of jump height. I mean jump length, and we don't need a jump height because we're not jumping. The next thing we are going to do is a private collider 2D called Cold. Again, we don't need to animate or rigid body because they're going to be called from our enemy, which we should reference right now. And yes, that means we do have to make this a protected override. Avoid start. I misspelled override. There's a missing an R. And before going further, we are going to add a private boolean facing left and have that equal to true by default. Then we're going to add our base.start and our call equals get component collider 2D. And that should be it for now. But actually, I'm going to do a if time dot delta time not equals 0 move. This would be our function. This is how we get our no to this. This is how we are going to get our Opossum to move. I'm just going to make sure for our controller. Yeah. I just gotta hope nothing moves when I... Just remember, we gotta do a pause menu. All games have a pause menu. So when you do this, if this doesn't move still how it already is, then I'll fix it another time. We're not doing that today, though, because I didn't set anything up. Nor do I know how I want to do a pause menu yet. So... we're in the wrong menu. Our enemy does not actually use an update. So we can actually get rid of that. So for our move function, similarly to the frog, we can actually just go here and copy and paste it. For the most part, we will have to get rid of some stuff. So like over here, we are going to get rid of... Actually no, those are a lot of stuff we are going to have to change. I think. I don't know, I'm just going to delete all that. This stays the same, this if else statement. Actually there's not even an else. No, there is an else statement, I'm just looking at it wrong. Okay, do a if. That's... I can actually just do this. If transform the locus here, this, that. We just need this part right here. So we don't need ground collision. And this will actually be changed to walk speed. Then rb.velocity.y. That's what changed. Do the same thing for here. Walk speed. rb.velocity.y. And if you need to see it again, because this is all we did, we just changed a small amount of the frog function for it to work. Now everything should be working. Once again, jumped on is called from the player controller if our game object has the tag enemy, or Opossum should have the tag enemy. We should not need to change any. Actually, no, we need to set our left and right caps up. Walk speed I have set to 3 on default because that is how I liked it in my original test world. And that would be the right cap. And this would be the left cap. Everything's saved. Everything's saved. And if you did everything right, should hopefully work. First try. Don't know what it's showing down here. Boom, it's moving. It's pretty good speed. Pretty good speed, I think. It's moving though. Let's see if jumping on it works. Frog explodes. Possum explodes and gets deleted. Okay. That'll be it for this short episode. Close that. That'll be it for this shorter episode, but in the next episode we'll go over our new camp setup and yeah, hopefully go over a pause menu. Now if you guys have any suggestions you want to see in the comments, make sure to let me know. And I might change this around a little bit, but next episode we'll do the camera and maybe a new enemy. Or a new enemy first and then the camera, whatever I feel like. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure to like, subscribe, and leave a comment. And yeah, if you have anything out, I think that's all I have for today. But see you guys in the next episode.